Hey guys, and happy Thursday. So for today I have 3 fairly simple DIYs for you. For this first project, you're going to need one of these wooden laths. I get these from Menards. They're 75 cents each. And you get about 3 feet. I just like using these a lot better than using the paint sticks, because with the paint sticks I feel like you waste that tip of it, where you have to cut it off so you can use the whole thing. So that's my opinion, but you can use paint sticks if you want to, the stir sticks or rulers or whatever you want. And then I've got the backing of 2 picture frames. I keep everything, so I had these 2 sitting in a bin. And then I'm going to be using this sign that I got from Dollar Tree. Right before Easter, I got them for like $1 each. So I grabbed as many as they had, and I've just been using them over, different projects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this edge here where the 2 holes are at, because I don't want the holes, and I actually need it to be a little bit shorter, so it was perfect. And I just take my razor, I score it, and I just keep my not my razor, my box cutter, and I score it, and I just kind of keep going over it until it breaks or it comes apart. So then I'm just going to go ahead, use my little hand sander and kind of clean up the edge there. And this little hand sander is amazing. I have a link in my description box if you're interested in it. It is so handy. It works perfectly. So, if you're looking for one, definitely check out my link. And of course I dropped it. This caused a problem because my little frames got stuck to my workbench. But anyway, so you're just going to glue the 2 edges of the frames together. And as you see here, I'm taking a big popsicle stick and I put it in the center there. Then it was kind of teetering, so I took another popsicle stick, cut it in half, or leftovers, cut that in half, and then I glued them on the sides. But this is kind of pointless because I end up taking these off a little bit later. You'll see it here in a minute. I end up taking them off because it's too wobbly the way that it is, so I end up switching it out and putting 2 whole popsicle sticks on there. So then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this antique wax, and it's the first time that I've ever used this Craft Smart antique wax, and I like it. I actually think I might like this a little bit more than the Waverly. It's not as waxy, I guess. So I like it. Then I'm gonna take, I use the wax paint on the stir sticks or on the lath pieces, and then I'm just gonna take a little bit of the antique wax and kind of give it a quick, I guess this is a dry brush, over the 2 picture frames, just so that it kind of looks more like wood and matches the 2 side pieces. So I just went ahead and kind of went over it as much as I needed to make it look the way that I wanted. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2 laths and I'm going to use those on the side of each of the picture frames. And then I put the hot glue on here because I was just going to hot glue it on there, and then I remembered it's not going to stick very well to that wax. So I went ahead, took it off. I got my sander, and I sanded the 2 spots where I was going to glue those laths onto, just so that they stick better. Because if you don't do that, I don't know, in my opinion, and this is just from my experience, the hot glue doesn't really glue very well if you don't do this. So I just went ahead now and hot glued the piece to the side there, held it in place till it dried, and then I did the same thing to the other side. And like I said, these are going to be the sides to my little project here. And then once I am done gluing those 2 pieces on there, I got this jumbo popsicle stick. These are the ones from Walmart, but if you have, another piece of anything that fits across here, then you can use that. But this kind of worked out perfectly. It wasn't too heavy, and it just fit right across the top of it like I needed. And it looks crooked from here, but it really isn't. So this is when I switched those bottom pieces out because it was just too wobbly, And all I did was take my heat gun, I heated it up a little bit, I used my little spatula and kind of popped them off, because that's the only way that you'd be able to get this Gorilla Glue off, because it's pretty permanent. Not permanent, but it holds quite well. So then I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get this top piece or this sign to hold on the top there. So I ended up taking 3 of the tumbling tower blocks and I just kind of spread them out on top of that popsicle stick. And I just hot glued them on there. You know, no wood glue, no nothing. I'm telling you, this glue is amazing. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but it's just the only type of hot glue that I use, or the glue sticks that I use. So I'm just going to take the 3 popsicle, or not popsicle sticks, what are they called? The Jenga blocks, tumbling tower blocks. Glue those the way that you see here, and then I'm going to take another one of the jumbo popsicle sticks. I'm going to cut off 2 pieces that are the same size, and then I'm going to glue those on either end of the top there. You'll see what I'm talking about right here. And this is just so that I can kind of put the awning on there, and it gives it something to glue onto. Now the angle for this is going to get a little bit awkward, just because that's not a huge piece, but it's a big piece for my little area there. It's about 15, well, with that awning on there, it's about 18 inches tall, because each of those laths, I guess I should have told you that, each of the laths is like 15 inches long. That's the length that I cut them. So yeah, this is about 18 inches tall. So then I'm just going to take some hot glue, put it on the edge of each of those popsicle sticks, and like on the corner of each of the Jenga blocks, just so that I can stick that awning on there. And then I'm going to take some hot glue and just add a little bit more on the back side of it so that it sticks. So now we're going to work on the inside of it. And I also took 4 regular popsicle sticks, and I glued them across the front of the bottom of the little piece, just so that it wouldn't lean forward. I hope that makes sense, but I just glued them on there. So then I'm going to take these new little hanging signs that they have at Dollar Tree in like the gardening section, and I'm just going to use the little pot and the watering can. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretty much use the little burlap ribbon or whatever that's on the back of the watering can. I'm going to use that to hang it from that top popsicle stick, and then I'm going to glue, I took it off and then I glued it like diagonally on the back, so that when it's hanging it looks like it's, you know, tilted, so that it looks like it's watering the plant, if that makes sense. So here I'm just going to go ahead, measure it out, try to see where I want it to hang. And like I said, sorry for the angle, but I really couldn't do it any other way. So then I'm just going to take some hot glue, put it on that piece of ribbon, and then I'm going to glue it onto the popsicle stick, like I said, so that it looks like it's hanging there. And then I ended up taking some hot glue and just kind of gluing the picture to the side of the little piece there. It was, you know, a small area, so it didn't really stick as well as I wanted it to. So what I ended up doing was turning this around and taking a piece of, oops, it flew off there, taking a piece of the popsicle stick, cutting it off, and just gluing that to the back of the little watering can, and then gluing the other end to the side of the little wall here, as you see me doing here. And this gave it just a little bit more support, so it stuck better. Then I'm going to take a tumbling tower block and I'm just going to glue it to the back of the little flower pot, and then I'm going to glue that to the bottom of the stand here. And then there was also a little shovel attached to the sign, so I'm just going to take a tumbling tower block, put it on the back of that, and glue that to the sign as well. And this is what it looks like. I think it's adorable. So then project number 2, I'm going to be using another one of these signs, and I'm just going to use the back of it, And I got this little tin from Dollar General on clearance like last year or maybe even the year before. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my homemade chalk paint and give this a quick dry brush across the whole thing. And I'm going to go, well, this looks like I'm going vertically, but I'm going horizontally along the sign. And I'm just going to go, go through and give it a dry brush across the whole sign, just so that it looks like weathered wood. And again, this is my preference when using like the back of these Dollar Tree signs, rather than painting it white and then, using the brown to distress it. This to me looks better and it's faster. So the next thing I'm going to do is make this kind of look like shiplap, and I'm just going to take my box cutter, and you can skip this step if you want to, and you can just draw them on. But I usually take my razor, kind of do a guideline, and then take my flathead screwdriver and go across it, just so that it gives it a little bit of dimension and it looks more realistic. Then I just took my brush that had just a little bit of paint on there and kind of went over it to, cover up any spots that I wanted covered up. Then I am going to just take this little tin and I'm going to attach it to the sign. I did take a Jenga block and put it at the bottom just so that it was even, and because the bucket kind of slants in at the bottom. So I just put a Jenga block at the bottom so that I could sit it on there evenly, as opposed to it kind of leaning forward, if that makes sense. And once I put that Jenga block on there, I'm just going to go ahead and glue that tin right on to the sign. And I think this turned out great, but it's simple, and you can use one of the buckets from the Dollar Tree if you don't have something like this, or you can use a basket, excuse me, or anything like that, and you can use any sign from the Dollar Tree. Sorry guys, my throat is raspy. So then you're just going to take, once you're done doing that, you're going to take either this wall cling that I got from the Dollar Tree, or if you want to print something out from your Cricut, or if you've got good handwriting, that works too. So I'm just going to cut out the letters that spell out bloom. I'm not going to use the whole sign. I'm just going to use the word bloom. And I'm going to trim down all the letters just because it wasn't going to fit on there the way that it was on the sign, because it was so spaced out. So I just kind of trimmed down the letters, and then I'm just going to go ahead and place them on the sign just like this. And I'm just trying to make sure that they're all going to fit here. And then once I was done doing that, I got a piece of foam, and this is floral foam from the Dollar Tree, and as you can see, it's been used. And I don't generally hot glue my pieces, but because this was the only one that I had aside from the one that I'm going to use in my next project, I just went ahead and used it. So then I got these florals from Dollar Tree quite some time ago, and I had them for another project, but I'm just going to reuse them, and I'm going to cut down the stems so that they fit inside this bucket better, and this is what it turns out like. So guys, today I'm part of an April Showers Brings May Flowers hop, and I am joined by all these amazing ladies. So be sure to check them all out. The next person in the hop will be in my description box down below. And be sure to comment on everybody's video to be entered into the $200 gift card giveaway. And if you're coming over here from the playlist or from the hop, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for joining me. I hope you stick around. Leave a comment and like this video and let me know which one was your favorite. So on to my next DIY. I got this little wheelbarrow at Goodwill. What I'm going to do, because I do like the wheelbarrow as is, but I wanted it to just be a little bit more springy. So I'm just going to take my white DIY chalk paint and just give it a quick dry brush, or quick, once over with this chalk paint. And there was a little bit too much paint on this side, so I took the dry part of the brush and just wiped off the excess and used it for the rest of the wheelbarrow. So then once I was done doing that, this little mint sign was part of one of the pieces that I used in a previous DIY today. I just went ahead and glued that onto the side of the wheelbarrow. And then these little stickers I used in a DIY earlier this week. Guys, that DIY was amazing. So I will leave it in my description box. I'll also put a card right here so you can click over and see that. Watch that one because it's great. So all I did was use 2 of those stickers to make it look like little nails on there. And then what I'm going to do is take a piece of floral foam and I'm going to put it inside the wheelbarrow. And I'm going to use some of this foliage from Dollar Tree. Now, don't judge me, guys. I don't have mint laying around the house, but this looked a lot like mint to me, so that's what we're going to use. So then what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and cut some of the stems off, and I actually ended up using the whole bunch there, and I just kind of cut them off and arranged them inside the wheelbarrow, and that was it. That's all I did for this. So guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Let me know which one you enjoyed. Be sure to check out all the ladies, and until next time, be blessed and be the reason someone smiles. Bye guys.